Hello, I'm Yasmina with Solano Canyon Church, and I have been praying, my family has been praying for the situation that's happening right now in Los Angeles with these fires breaking out. And so, as we've been praying, I had a thought about hope, being hopeful and being hopeless. And as I thought about how these two can't really coexist because they kind of are a positive and a negative, and then both come together and nothing happens. It basically disappears. So, in that sense, I've been thinking about how right now I know that a lot of Christians are praying, but many of those Christians I've already heard things like, well, this is just a sign of the times, or things like, well, yeah, this just means that Jesus is going to return soon. And I've been thinking that, just like the word hope and hopeless can't really coexist, that if at the core of our being as a Christian, we believe that and expect, because our eschatology, our study of the end times, has told us that things are going to get worse, that they're supposed to get worse so that Jesus returns, then our prayers are not really going to be infused with a lot of hope. And I just can't see how we can say we're praying for things to get better, and at the same time, in our heart, at the core of who we are, we're expecting things to get worse. Luke 6:45 actually says that, what we declare with our mouths, what we say with our mouths is a reflection of what we carry in our hearts. And so we can't be saying one thing and actually saying, another. We can't, we either, we're either one or the other. And so I've been thinking about this, especially with, the current events that are happening right now, with the fires that are happening right now. And I was thinking about how many Christians, are expecting, again, things to get worse. And yet we're wanting or saying that we're praying for things to get better with the situation. And I find it very contradicting. And I've been thinking about how we're expecting, things to get worse. And we have been taught through our eschatology to want things, in a sense, to get worse so that we can get raptured, hopefully, or not, you're going to be left behind. And then, the world is going to go to hell in a handbasket. And that is what we're waiting for. That's what we're supposed to be expecting. And I'm like, maybe there's something different. Maybe there's something better. Maybe at the foundation of our eschatology, we've had a lot of fear-mongering, and we've been taught a lot of things that are actually fear-based and aren't really hopeful and are actually expectant of the worst of the worst. So I know that, like, right now, if I were to say, there's a book that's selling about the blood moons, or about how, the end times are supposed to, lay out, and this is going to happen, and then that's going to happen, and so forth, that book is going to sell because fear sells, and because many Christians have been addicted to a fear-based Christianity. And for many, many years, this is what has been happening, even from pulpits, fear-mongering. And so we've become addicted to it. And if I were to tell you that there is an actual eschatology, which is actually the original eschatology and the way we're supposed to be interpreting our scriptures in regards to, these passages that we repeat over and over about the end times, there is an eschatology that is victorious, and it's hopeful, and it will give us a different point of view in regards to the earth and the world, and how we're supposed to be redeeming it instead of waiting to be rescued from this, this horrible thing that's supposed to be occurring so that Jesus can return. And I wanted to talk about this because I'm praying that as we, as I'm praying for, these fires to get contained, and as I'm praying for protection, I'm also praying that my Christian community, that Christians all over would say something like, yeah, you know what? Maybe the eschatology that I've been believing, the eschatology I've been handed down, what I've been taught, maybe that hasn't been very hopeful. Maybe that isn't aligning correctly with the way that I am supposed to be an overcomer, and I'm supposed to be taking charge of my role here on this planet. Because as believers, as Christians, we are supposed to be championing things like awareness on climate change and making our planet actually better. We are supposed to, Christians are supposed to be championing breakthroughs in the medical field, in science, so that things like cancer and things like Alzheimer's can be a thing of the past. We have the authority, and we've been commissioned to transform this world and make it more like heaven. Like right now, we don't have to be waiting to be rescued. We don't have to be waiting for these horrific things to unfold. We don't have to wait for the world to go to hell in a handbasket for us to bring transformation to this earth. We as Christians should be the most hopeful people on the planet. And sometimes I just hear this pessimism, and again, this expectation of just the horrible things, that are happening. And we look at current events, and I keep hearing things like, yeah, it's a sign of the times. It's just going to keep getting worse. Yeah. And it's almost like we're expecting it again so that Jesus can return. So, there is something different. There is an eschatology of victory, an eschatology of hope that is available, an interpretation of these scriptures. So that's what I am praying for, and that's what I am believing, and I'm believing for a shift in our mindset when it comes to our study of the end times and our eschatology, because I feel like if we can grab that, it's going to affect so many other areas of our lives as Christians. And so I'm going to drop some information in the description box for you. And if you've made it to this, to this point in the video, I'm praying that maybe you are thinking about these things, that maybe you've been thinking about how your eschatology isn't as hopeful as you'd like for it to be. And so I'm going to give you some information, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe so that when new content becomes available, you can get it right away. And I just pray that you are encouraged, and I pray that you are blessed. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.